The objective of this lesson is to evaluate formulas by substituting specific values for the variables. In previous lessons, students have learned how to generate algebraic expressions. Students have learned that in formulas such as area equals length times width, values are substituted for variables. Today, students will evaluate formulas for 2- and 3-dimensional shapes. A formula is an algebraic expression that represents a mathematical rule that is used frequently. Formulas are efficient ways to calculate an answer. Let's evaluate a formula for the area of a rectangle. Area equals length times width. Let's substitute the values for the variables. Length equals 6 and width equals 4. Area equals 6 times 4. The area equals 24 square units. Let's use a new set of values. Length equals 5/10 and width equals 3. Area equals 5/10 times 3. Area equals 1 5/10 square units. Let's examine the area of another figure. This is a square. A square is a special type of rectangle where the lengths of all 4 sides are equal. The formula for the area of a square is S, where S is the length of a side, times S, or S squared. And S is used instead of an L and W because using different variables implies that the lengths and widths are different, whereas using a single variable S implies that the lengths are the same. Let's substitute the S variable for some values. S equals 5. The area would equal 5 times 5, or 5 squared, which equals 25 square units. Let's substitute another value for S. S equals 15. The area of the square would equal 15 squared, which equals 225 square units. Another formula that is often used is perimeter. Perimeter of a rectangle can be found by adding the length and width and then doubling the sum. Or it can be found by doubling the length, doubling the width, and then adding the 2 doubled amounts. The expression for the first method of finding the perimeter would be written as perimeter equals length plus width in parentheses times 2. The expression for the second method of finding the perimeter would be perimeter equals 2 times length plus 2 times width. Let's evaluate both expressions when the length is 75 and the width is 30. Let's start with the first expression. Substitute the variables for the given values. The expression reads perimeter equals the sum of 75 plus 30 in parentheses times 2. 75 plus 30 is 105. 105 times 2 is 210. The perimeter of the rectangle is 210 units. Let's now evaluate the second expression. Substitute the variables for the given values. The expression reads perimeter equals 2 times 75 plus 2 times 30. Perimeter equals 150 plus 60. The perimeter equals 210 units. Both expressions yielded the same perimeter of 210 units. Volume is another formula that is often used. The volume for a rectangular prism is length times width times height. Let's find the volume for a rectangular prism where the length is 8, the width is 12, and the height is 5. The formula would read volume equals 8 times 12 times 5. 8 times 12 is 96, and 96 times 5 is 480. The volume is 480 cubic units. Let's explore the volume of a cube. A cube is a special rectangular prism where the lengths of all the sides are equal. The formula for the volume of a cube would therefore be the length, S, times the width, S, times the height, S, or S cubed. Let's substitute the value of 6 for S. The volume would equal 6 times 6 times 6, or 6 cubed. The volume would be 216 cubic units. The objective for this lesson was to evaluate formulas by substituting specific values for the variables. We met this objective by substituting given values for some common formulas of area, perimeter, and volume. We also evaluated two equations for the perimeter of a rectangle and found them to be equivalent by substituting values for the variables.